Hi, guys. Welcome to our fourth week and fourth step in the home buying process, which is making an offer. So you've gone house hunting, you've looked at plenty of houses, and you finally found the house that's right for you. Guess what? Now it's time to make an offer. So, first thing, let's just go through what's considered a buyer's market and a seller's market.
Right. So what happens is, as a buyer, buyers always believe that they're in a buyer's market. So, for example, if the house is 200,000, the buyer's like, listen, let's just offer 150 or something to that effect, right? Because you don't want to offer what the seller's asking. We want to come in lower. We want to get this house for as cheap as possible. But your professionals that you're working with have to let you know what kind of a market you're in. So if you're in a buyer's market, you may be able to do that, offer much lower and get the house much cheaper. However, if you're in a seller's market, it may be that their asking price is 200 and the house ends up going for 2.25 above asking price because it's such a hot market. So knowing your market is super important as to how your offer is going to play out.
Correct. So in a buyer's market, a buyer has more negotiating power. In a seller's market, a seller has more negotiating power. Now, someone may be asking themselves, okay, what determines a buyer's market as opposed to a seller's market? And it's an easy answer: supply and demand. If you have very low amount of houses on the market and there are a lot of people looking in that market, it's a seller's market. If there are more houses on the market than there are buyers looking for them, it's a buyer's market. It's pretty simple. It's economics 101. So that's why it's very important to work with a realtor that's familiar with that area. I sometimes find people relocating from one town and moving an hour away and trying to use the same realtor that's selling their home to buy a new home. You know, I'm not saying that realtor isn't good and doesn't know that other market, but chances are you may want to look at a realtor that's familiar with that market that you're trying to buy in. There are markets that you have to offer around 10% above asking, the first weekend right now. That'll change in the future, but if, you're near a train line that's close to New York City, chances are it's probably always going to be a seller's market. That being said, let's formulate an offer, okay? If a house has been on the market for a week, okay, and there's a lot of interest on that house, you don't have much wiggle room for your offer, okay? If a house has been sitting on the market for a few months, guess what? They priced it too high, and you definitely have negotiating power, okay? Now, working with a good realtor will, one, help you negotiate, or two, help you navigate those multiple offer situations. Multiple offers is what happens when you're in a seller's market and you have 10 people that love the same house as you, and they all want to put in an offer on the same house. Now, that's not said that the person that offers the most money will get the house.
There's also terms.
There are different terms. One is, what is your down payment? Okay? Someone that is putting down 20% on their mortgage or going in all cash and doesn't even have a mortgage, when they say cash is king, it's for a reason. It's because you don't have to worry about a mortgage. So what happens with the mortgage is you'll have an appraisal. If an appraisal comes in lower than the purchase price, the seller's losing out. If somebody goes in all cash, there is no appraisal, and they can even close quicker than somebody getting a mortgage. Another term that could help out: limited inspections. So you walk into a house and you're actually pretty savvy and understand homes and construction. You know, maybe you have a relative or you yourself are a contractor and you can see a solid house when you see it. You can notice it. You may want to limit your inspections. So I know certain people will waive inspections altogether. Now, that's very tricky and it's also a high risk.
That's a more savvy person who's probably purchased a few properties prior to this.
But you can also limit inspections to, you know what, I want to make sure there's no underground oil tank on this house, but I'll take the house as it is. Maybe you looked at the whole structure and, you know, you see that there probably isn't a structural problem. You can waive your inspection for structural issues. You can also limit the amount you will, an actual amount for repairs after your home inspection. So let's say you do a home inspection and you find out there are $10,000 worth of problems, okay? Maybe in the beginning you waive, you know, the first $5,000 in issues. So that way you're protected if there's anything major that's maybe $50,000, right? Because you only waived $5,000. But the seller knows you're not going to nickel and dime them during a home inspection. Another negotiating term that helps is bridging an appraisal gap. So what I was getting at before with mortgages and appraisals, you know, let's say you're buying a home for $500,000 and you put in a term on your offer that you will bridge any gap up to $10,000, right? So you go through the whole process. The house comes back and it appraises for $490,000. The seller knows that you will come and you will bridge that $10,000 difference between the purchase price and the appraisal. Okay? But in the meantime, you're also not tied down if the house appraises for $450,000. You know, you only agreed to $10,000, not $50,000. You know, depending on your price range, $10,000 could be a lot, could be not too much. Okay? So there are different terms that will help you not only increasing your purchase price. And I've actually had buyers that have gone in multiple offers and come out without the highest offer. And they ended up closing on the house. So arm yourself with a good realtor. Okay? That concludes today's lesson. And tune in next week for step 6.
Bye-bye.